So we're going to have the reading next. The reading for today, we're focusing on Psalm 24. And hopefully, as you guessed from the song that we have sung, and the songs we're about to sing as well, that the whole idea there is praising God for how amazing he is and everything that he has done for us. And Alan's going to share a little bit later some thoughts from Psalm 24 about how wonderful God is. So we're going to read that through together now. I've got two helpers. One agreed and one was forced to do it. I've been rejected many times this morning. It's not great for the ego. But thank you guys. Luke. So if you turn to Psalm 24 in your Bibles, Luke's going to read verse 1 to 2. Charlotte's going to read 3 to 6. And then I guess I'll finish it off.
The earth is the Lord's, and everything in it, the world and all who live in it. For he founded it on the seas and established it on the waters.
Who may ascend the hill of the Lord? Who may stand in his holy place? He who has clean hands and a pure heart, who does not lift up his soul to an idol or swear by what is false. He will receive blessing from the Lord and vindication from God his Saviour. Such is the generation of those who seek him, who seek your face, O God of Jacob.
Lift up your heads, you gates. Be lifted up, you ancient doors, that the King of glory may come in. Who is this King of glory? The Lord, strong and mighty, the Lord mighty in battle. Lift up your heads, you gates. Lift them up, you ancient doors, that the King of glory may come in. Who is he, the King of glory? The Lord Almighty. He is the King of glory. Thanks, guys. Alan's going to share a couple of introductory thoughts.
What a great psalm that is. And you're looking at the Psalms these Sunday mornings, and these songs of praise and prayers that we have within the book of Psalms are always well rewarding to read and to use as reflection as well. And some of the Psalms are linked together. There's a trio of Psalms that you're looking at now, for instance. You've got Psalm 22. If we can... PowerPoint? Anyway, there's Psalm 22 and Psalm 23 and Psalm 24. And they all reflect God. God as Saviour. There in 22, God of shepherd, God as sovereign in 24. And if you just wanted one word to sum up the three Psalms, the cross, the crook, and the crown. And when we think about this psalm, as we're going to do this morning, we find that it is David's psalm. In fact, there's a title to the psalm, that actually spells it out. This is David's psalm. And it probably reflects the bringing in of the Ark of the Covenant from the time when it had been lost in the days of Eli and his sons. They took the Ark of the Covenant and made it a good luck charm when they went into battle and lost to the Philistines. And the ark was, as it were, lost. But David was determined to bring it back to Jerusalem. And we'll touch on that a little later. And amidst the shouts and the acclamation of praise, the ark was welcomed into Jerusalem. But it's Jesus' psalm as well. And when you think about Jesus entering into Jerusalem, particularly on that Palm Sunday that we'll be coming to shortly when we come and celebrate Easter, the great, again, acclamation of the people. They took down palm branches and they waved them and did all sorts of things, shouting out to the one that they believed could be their king, the King of glory. And in Jewish life, the Psalms would be used daily. And Psalm 24 was the Sunday psalm in the synagogues And so that Palm Sunday, they would have read this psalm. But more than that, it is about Jesus' ascension. Again, we'll come on to that. When Jesus ascended to the Father's right hand, to the highest place of glory, he returned to the Father. And yet, the important thing is that we make it our psalm. And that's crucial, that we do that. We make it our psalm. And we truly find that this psalm, as we meditate upon it, helps us to greater appreciate the one who is the King of glory, the Lord Jesus Christ. The earth is the Lord's, and everything in it, the world and all that live in it. For he founded it on the seas and established it on the waters. It is when God's people gather together, there's always a sense of wonder. God, you're great. You're a big God. And in that we rejoice. And imagine that there were a group of people moving to Jerusalem, moving as pilgrims. And as they were traveling outdoors naturally, and they were walking, and they were appreciating all that was around them. The earth is the Lord's. The earth is the Lord's. And everything in it. We live in an amazing universe, don't we? Sometimes people sort of question, is there life anywhere else? And so we send probes up to Mars to see if there are any Martians hiding around the corner, and we don't discover any, do we? But here we have God that has created all things around us. And that's why we had Psalm 8. When I consider the heavens, the work of your fingers, the stars and the moon, what is man that you're mindful of him? And it is when we think about the King of glory, we think about the one who is the creator and the sustainer of all things. Right at the beginning of John's Gospel, John 1:3, it speaks about how all things were created by him and through him. And without him, nothing was made that has been made. When Paul wrote to the Colossians, he spoke about this King of glory. For him, by all things were created that are in heaven and earth. And in him all things hold together. He is that which sticks it all together as well. That's amazing. Our planet has been described as a pale blue dot. Nothing seems to be happening if we can move it on. Aha! Success. There is a pale blue dot. And the Voyager 1 spacecraft back in 1990 captured this when it was moving to the edge of the galaxy, 4 billion miles away. It turned its cameras to picture the Earth. And it was seen as just a pale blue dot, a small stage on the cosmic landscape. And this was from 4 billion miles away. That was quite amazing. And when we think about the globe, don't we? When we think about how there is 197 countries, how there are continents, and all that sea, the oceans. 70% of the earth is covered by an awful lot of water. I don't know if you recognize this flag. Anyone? It's not a pub quiz, I'm afraid. Have a hero. Greenland. And I was just thinking about it the other week, actually, because there was a certain president of the United States, which I won't go into any details about, because he seems to be capturing the headlines without my help at all. But he decided, well, I think what I'll do is I'll take Greenland. I'll buy Greenland. And I thought to myself, it's not yours. The earth is the Lord's and the fullness thereof. The fullness. All that there is around us, all that is even within the earth, is God's. Belongs to God. And Greenland is part of the responsibility of Denmark, isn't it? It's their territory as such. But often when people squabble over land, it leads to wars, it leads to conflicts, it leads to a great deal of heartache. But the earth is the Lord's. This speaks about the rule, the royal rule of God over all things. There was a Dutch politician who was a bit of a theologian. He actually became Prime Minister, Abraham Kuyper. And he said this: there is not a square inch of the whole domain of our human existence over which Christ, who is sovereign, does not cry, mine, mine. I like that. The earth is the Lord's and the fullness. The earth is the Lord's and everything in it is mine. And there is to be this sense of wonder that grips our hearts, the wonder of the King of Glory. And it is as we are out and about. I don't know, I was walking, having a walk the other day, and just going through an area with a lot of trees, and the birds were twittering away, and I thought, wow, the wonder of it. Going around the corner, seeing a whole host of snowdrops with their beauty and their whiteness, so stark contrast to the kind of drabness around. The wonder of God. Who owns it all? God. And He's called us to be tenants. He's called us to be stewards. You're saying, are you creating a green agenda for us today? No, I'm creating a God agenda for us, to appreciate all that God has given to us. And this King of Glory here upholds the world by the word of His power. He's the one who put it all together. And that's why we read of how he comes and He founded it upon the seas, He established it upon the waters, because he's the one who was right at the beginning, putting it all together. He's the one who's sustaining it all this very day. The very life that I have, the breath that I have in my body, is a glorious gift of God. And so we see the wonder around us and appreciate it and say, yours, Lord, is the greatness and the power and the glory and the majesty, for everything in the heavens and in the earth is yours. There was one person who said to how we have lost our sense of wonder. We have a shriveled sense of wonder. May our wonder never shrivel up, but ever seek to be that which reflects the beauty, the grace, the power of this God who is the King of Glory. We're going to begin to look at the central part of the psalm, where there is this sense of welcome to the King of Glory. And that sense of welcome, of being in the presence of the King of Glory. And what the children are going to do are to have some hands and hearts, because that's what we're going to be kind of looking at for a few moments, just in this next section. And they can piece that together. But who may ascend the mountain of the Lord? Who may stand in His holy place? And we're told, he who has clean hands and a pure heart, who does not trust in an idol or swear by false gods. Here is David. He's bringing the Ark of the Covenant into Jerusalem. And the Ark of the Covenant symbolized the awesome, powerful, pure presence of God among the people of God. And often there were mountains around Jerusalem. And there are also mountains that were part of encountering God down through Israel's history. When you think about Moses, he went up on Mount Sinai, and the very mountain shook. And the people had to stay right at the bottom of the mountain. The priests were able to go kind of halfway up. And it was Moses that went all the way up to meet and encounter God. That kind of image is replicated in the tabernacle and the temple, the outdoor courts, the outer courts for the people, the holy place for the priests. And then the high priest would enter into the Holy of Holies once a year. It was a holy, awesome experience to know God. And God was kind of pictured in all his power and glory there in the Ark of the Covenant. And as people gathered together, I'm not quite sure what's happening with this. As they went up to Jerusalem, they would move through the land. They would move up the hills, the mountains, and they would be aware of the awesome responsibility that they had. Who may ascend is the cry. Who may stand in the holy place? And the answer was really, ultimately, no one's qualified. Because we don't have clean hands. We don't have a pure heart. Remember in the old COVID days? The emphasis on cleaning your hands, singing happy birthday whilst you're cleaning your hands or something of that nature, in order that all the bugs, as it were, could be cleansed so that you might live and survive and be kept free of the COVID. Oh yeah, we tend to forget that experience just a few years ago, but cleaning our hands are important. And it kind of speaks about our outward actions that are to reflect the beauty and the power of God. And this is what the children are doing, where they've got their hands and then they've got their hearts, because it's the purity of our heart. It's that which motivates us, that which stirs us, that which moves us in a particular direction. And we find that it is out of the abundance of the heart the mouth speaks. Blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see God. We're called not to trust in an idol or a false god. And what is an idol? It's that which takes the place of God in our lives. Sometimes the idols have been simply stated as money, sex, and power. And as part of the idols that can grip us and can govern us, but they multiply, they abound. So how can we go up the mountain of the Lord? How can we be welcomed into his presence? We know something has to be done in our own hearts, in our own lives. I need to become clean. And I know there's only one way in which I can become clean, and that is as a result of all that Jesus has done for us. And all that Jesus did for us there at the cross. He is the one who was totally pure, with clean hands and a pure heart. And he went into God's holy presence, not with the blood of animals that was so much a part of the Old Testament sacrificial system, but with his own blood, and enables us, as we put our faith and our trust in him, to belong and to be cleansed. Because it's only through Jesus that we can become holy, we can become clean. Our hands can become clean, our hearts can become pure. We can turn our lives away from the idols of this world and love and serve our great and glorious God. Oh, only through Jesus can we ascend and be welcomed into God's presence. And that is an outcome of the way in which he's loved us. And as John says in Revelation, he's loved us and washed us from our sins in his blood. Oh, it was costly for Jesus to do that. But he wants us to enter into the amazing blessing that is for us as we go on trusting him, that amazing blessing that even the psalmist speaks of when he says they will receive blessing from the Lord, vindication from God, our Savior. The blessings abound from heaven among the people of God. We are blessed with every spiritual blessing in heavenly places. We're forgiven, we're cleansed, we're made whole. We're filled with the Spirit of God. We're equipped with new grace and power. Oh, there are wonderful blessings. God comes and reaches out to us and welcomes us. Welcomes us. And it is Jeremiah who said, "Seek me. You will seek me and find me. When you seek for me with all your heart," that is the way to enter into the blessings of God. To enter into the enrichment that he wants to bring into your life and my life. And to know that our lives are fully fulfilled and full of his grace and his goodness. As the psalmist continues, he says, this is a generation that seek you. And he mentions the God of Jacob. God of Jacob, well, Jacob's life was a messed up life right from the beginning, really. He was a bit of a twister, a deceiver. He disappeared off the scene into far-off lands, but ultimately he had to come back and meet his brother. He hadn't seen him for 20 years, I guess. But he met and encountered God on the way. His life was turned inside out. He wrestled with the angel of the Lord and ended up walking with a limp for the rest of his life. But he was never disappointed because he knew the blessing of God upon him and the blessing of God that was going to enrich his life to enable him to live in a whole new way. He was welcomed into the presence of the King of Glory as we can be. And so this is a psalm about welcome, about being received, about being enjoyed by the one true living God. What we've been doing is taking hold of the psalm, thinking about the wonder of the King of Glory as the creator and sustainer of all. We thought about the welcome that we can receive for the King of Glory, and we know that we can enter into his presence and to enjoy him. In his presence there is fullness of joy, pleasures forevermore. Aye, that's great. It's glorious. And this final part is just very brief. It's just celebrating that sense of worship. Worship. As I said, you imagine the Ark of the Covenant coming back to Jerusalem, the people coming, and there's King David. He's heading up the crowd of people that are moving forward with the Ark of the Covenant to enter Jerusalem. And you can imagine the conversations, but more than conversations, the proclamations, how there seem to be two voices. Lift up your heads, be lifted up your ancient doors, that the King of Glory may come in. Here is King David. He's not the King of Glory. He's a king, but he's not the King of Glory. And he's saying, open the gates of Jerusalem, lift high those fortifications, let the King of Glory come in. He's not talking about himself. He's talking about the awesome presence of the living God, the King of Glory, entering in. And the response of others coming and saying, who is the King of Glory? And then there's this mighty declaration, the Lord strong and mighty, the Lord who's mighty in battle, he's the King of Glory. I did think about trying it out within the church and dividing the congregation and sort of getting you to respond upstairs, downstairs, left and right. But I thought that might not work too easily. But here it is, this sense of interaction together. Lift up your heads, lift up your hearts. And that's really exciting to know that we can lift up our heads this morning because of the King of Glory. We can. You might be downcast in spirit this morning. Here is the call: lift up your heads, lift up your hearts. You might find that this week is a week of its own, will have its own set of challenges. You may have hospital appointments. You're never quite sure whether they're going to be straightforward or not, or whether they're going to lead to further tests, further appointments. That situation at work that is particularly difficult at this moment in time. The situation in a family. Whatever it might be. The call is: lift up your heads. Lift up your hearts. Allow the King of Glory to come in, because he's the one of mighty power. He's the one of great resourcefulness. He is the one who's strong, and he can battle for you in what you face. The King of Glory, the one with all power and all authority, this very moment in time. He's invincible, and he's coming to us who open their hearts and say to him, "Come, have your way in my life, Lord, the King of Glory. Have your way in my home. Have your way in my place of work. Reign supreme, rule in power. You're the King of Glory." That's worship, friends. That's worship of the King of Glory, day by day. When Jesus entered Jerusalem, there on that Palm Sunday that I've already mentioned, remember how the religious people said, "Jesus, you need to get your followers to pipe down. Be a bit quieter. Don't get so excited. Don't get so enthusiastic. Tell them to be still. Tell them to be quiet." Do you know what Jesus said? "If I told them to be quiet, even the very stones on which you are standing will cry out, will burst forth with praise." And what we have with Jesus, though, is the way in which, maybe you could move it on, comes to the ascension. This is what I mentioned right at the beginning. Because when Jesus ascended to heaven, after being raised and revealing himself in his presence to his disciples, to his followers, we find that there is this time when he ascends to the Father. And this psalm would be used on Ascension Day. This psalm will be read in many liturgies during Ascension Day. Why? Because it's about welcoming the King of Glory. It's as though heaven is saying, "Fling wide the gates, open the doors, the King of Glory is returning to his rightful place." He's the one who's been given the name that is above every name, that at the name of Jesus every knee shall bow. And this is the verse I want to leave with you. And with this I really do wrap up. Here in Hebrews 2:13, where it is the King of Glory who's coming and saying as he ascends to the Father, "Here am I and the children you have given to me." I think that is most amazing in terms of power, of assurance, of hope, of security. Jesus ascends to the Father Father. And he says, here I am. And the children, Joan, Barry, Mary, Denise, here are the children from every tongue, every tribe, every nation, every people group. Here they are, ransomed, healed, restored, forgiven. They're with me. And what that proclaims to us, that Jesus never sees himself apart from his people. You and me this morning. Here am I and the children you have given to me. And that is true wonder. That is true welcome. That is true worship that we offer to the King of Glory this day.